welcome to the Myth-Busting series from Balchem. I'm Dr. Rick Grummer, Emeritus Professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. All right, let's get started on myth number 3. All right, myth number 3. Goldilocks likes it just right, and so should your cows. All right, everybody's probably heard of the Goldilocks diet, right? Sometimes called the controlled energy diets. These are diets that are very high in poor quality forage. Typically people bring in some sort of straw. It doesn't have to be, but certainly most of the research has been done using straw. And the idea is when you bring in that high amount of poor quality forage, when the cow eats ad libitum, she eats just enough to meet her energy requirements. Not too much, not too little, just right. Here are 4 observations that comes from the literature. These cows have less fatty acid mobilization. There's a carryover effect in the lactation where they have lower NEFA and BHBA. They have less fatty liver. And they seem to have fewer DAs. All right? And I have those in green because no argument there. Absolutely no argument. The evidence is compelling. It's absolutely compelling that that is happening. But this is what people don't talk a lot about. These are 10 different trials in which they controlled energy intake. And they compared the production of those cows relative to those that were overfed energy. And typically these cows were well overfed, usually to the tune of 140 to 150% of their requirements. And this is the difference in milk production between controlled energy versus overfeeding. The responses are pretty inconsistent. I mean, as a researcher, I look at that and I go, wow, how do we draw a conclusion from that? But I also see some of these numbers that are pretty big drops when feeding controlled energy diets. And that, that's got to be concerned, right? If you're out feeding 10 farms and 3 of them experience those kind of drops, that's not really a good thing. This is the difference in fat percentage across these 10 trials. That's pretty consistent. That's pretty consistent that you will see a reduction in milk fat test. So we can take fat and milk volume and we can express it either as some of these publications express it as energy-corrected milk, some as fat-corrected milk. And there again, you see some of these trials in which some pretty sizable reductions have shown up. All right? So that's what you don't hear a lot about. All right. There's no debate. Cows fed controlled energy diets mobilize less fat, lower NEFA in blood. But again, as we said, NEFA are an energy source for the mammary gland and a precursor for milk fat synthesis, right? So if you reduce the NEFA availability of the mammary gland, it should not be surprising that there may be downstream effects on lactation performance. The trick here is to have a balancing act. Provide sufficient NEFA to the mammary gland to support lactation without the cow experiencing negative effects that may occur, and I will grant you that on some occasions the NEFA mobilization may get out of hand.